Hey everybody, welcome back to Heisei Week. This was going to be the day of rest. I assumed I was going to be asleep right now, but that is not how life works. Sometimes things come and you've got to do something about it. So it's good to be back with the usual Rogues Gallery and starting with, oh, got it right first time. Cool. Starting here, just say who you are and let's go down the line.
What's up, everyone? I am Hollywood Zach. You all know who I am. Big Toku fan, Kamen Rider, all that stuff. God, I love Kamen Rider so much. Here to talk about something exciting. I don't know what's going on, but they wanted me to be here, so I'm here.
And then is it me next?
It is you next, yes.
My name is Joe with the Illuminati and Screen Rant, and I guess sometimes Regal Cinemas. I am here talking Kamen Rider. I'm like the rookie out of all you guys, seeing all your lovely faces. So welcome. Thank you for welcoming me to the group.
Cool.
What's up, Joe? Well, welcome. My name is Liz, and I go by Ranger Liz, though honestly, Writer Liz is also good.
And I guess you, Carl, my arch nemesis.
All right.
Go ahead.
You're going to let me go? All right, I see how it is. I'm Carl. I host a podcast called Tokudon, and I'm the one who brought the Blade Army to the Gunn presentation. So,
Hello, I'm Jem. I'm from a channel called Pronghorn Heroes on YouTube, TikTok. I also co-host a podcast called Tokusatsu World Tour. Thanks for having me to talk Gunn today.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know me. It's me. It's Toku Chris. I got a text message from David. It was kind of crazy. I kind of felt like he had this gun to my head about having to be on this panel today, so I don't know what's going on. I guess we'll find out, though.
Yeah, so it's totally not about Gunn. But since everybody brought it up, and Joe, you're the newest one on this panel, have you seen Kamen Rider Gunn and tell me why it's the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life?
I have seen most of Kamen Rider Gunn, actually. So just to give you a little backstory on my Kamen Rider experience, I had not gotten really into the show until really talking to Chris, believe it or not. That's what really got me into the show. But then I started watching Gunn, and I kind of fell in love with it for the simple fact that it was a fruit theme like Pokemon thing, and there were dance battles, and I thought, dude, this is so cool and so weird at the same time. I just couldn't turn away. So even now, like I was still watching. I haven't finished Gunn completely yet, but I can't wait to finish the season and check out how it all wrapped up. But I have seen a little bit of Black and Kuga, since Kuga is now on Tubi. I was checking that out too a little bit, and I really got into Kuga like right away. So that's a pretty cool series too.
Awesome. All right. Well, real quick before we get sidetracked with what's about to come next, I have to do my job real quick, y'all. Make sure go to blueprintbrands.com. Where you'll be able to see all the things we have on sale. Some things have sold out. I think the Shinkocho Black is gone. So I'm sorry. It was here for a while though. It was kind of cool while it lasted. You can also still get for a limited time the Team Kamen Rider jersey. It's here for this week and this week only, and then it's gone forever. This one does have the 50th logo on it, so it is officially a Toei product. So make sure you get that. We also have these really cool shirts that were done by some American artists, one of Build and one of Grease. If you're wondering why it's a sample, it's because somebody out there, you know who you are, keeps stealing our designs off Amazon. So yeah, we see you, and we're not happy with you. So this is why it's a sample. And don't forget, we still have the photo contest, which does wrap up tonight. So make sure you guys go ahead and get your entries in. We've seen a lot of good ones so far, and some good ones for the photo comic as well. So looking forward to seeing what you guys can do there. But with that, Joe, you got an opportunity to do something pretty cool.
Yeah, so more recently, my actual job here is to watch movies and interview actors and filmmakers. And I had that opportunity this week, or actually last week. So let's back up just a little bit here. Last year, you guys had Heisei Week, and it made a huge impact in the Toku and Kamen Rider community. Am I correct in saying this? Most of that impact, right. Most of that impact was due to a great filmmaker who's coming out with a movie this week, James Gunn, Suicide Squad. Maybe you've heard of it, starring Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, David Smolchin. There's a ton of actors in that movie. Go check it out. But I had the chance to talk to James, and matter of fact, you think we can get his attention? You think it's possible?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and show a thing real quick.
Now, the last question I have for you, and this is something you and I can really bond about, is that I know you're a Kamen Rider fan, and I'm a huge Kamen Rider fan. We have to celebrate its 50th anniversary. 2 questions. What's your season of Kamen Rider, and would you be interested in possibly doing something to maybe get American eyes on the Kamen Rider franchise?
Well, I like the original series of the Kamen Rider is like just the greatest. And there's something about the aesthetic of all of that stuff. You know, Kamen Rider, I also love Ultraman. I think that I don't, I tweet about them all the time. So I like people to be able to be aware of that. But I love that aesthetic. And truthfully, that aesthetic is something that influenced me a lot. I love old, I love the kaiju movies. I love old, Hong Kong action films. And so there's a lot of bits of Asian cinema that have influenced me a lot more than most American cinema. And that's in the Suicide Squad.
Right.
It's just that sense of craziness and fun, but also sincerity. Not doing it as like, hey, this is a joke on you. We're doing this as a joke. It's not that. It's sincere. And that's what the Suicide Squad is.
Team Kamen Rider at Bandai are trying to make its way to the U.S. market here. Do you think there's an audience for Kamen Rider?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, for sure. I think that there's something innately beautiful and magical about Kamen Rider. So I think that people could definitely be into that if it was presented to them in the right way and through the right. And listen, one of the great things about streaming services today is that people are able to see TV shows and things from other cultures. Like people are able, like I had to work really hard as a young man. I had to go down and buy bootleg Hong Kong, videotapes. I did this for years and years. I had a collection of, hundreds of Hong Kong movies that were never released in the United States. And I had them on videotape, and that's where I learned how to make movies, was from those things. So being able to more easily access, movies from other cultures is a great thing for the world because it helps you understand other cultures. But it also allows you to appreciate things that just haven't grown. And one of the great things about Asian cinema in general, not just Japanese cinema or Hong Kong or South Korea, is that they embrace multiple genres at one time. Here in the United States, things get very much like, this is an action movie, or this is, a romantic comedy, or this is whatever. But those movies, they do embrace way more. And that's what's, the Suicide Squad is the descendant of those films as much as it is of my own culture.
So we tried so long. After he made that tweet, I love that Kamen Rider is trending. And on his Instagram, he tagged Team Kamen Rider. I was like, my life's goal is to get this man to say something else about Rider. And when it got brought to my attention that Joe actually achieved what I thought was impossible, I'm like, all right, we got to show somebody something. So Joe, we'll start with you just because you were the man that has brought us this greatness. How cool is it to be able to talk Kamen Rider with James Gunn?
Yeah, you know what? That you got to thank Chris for that one, and I'll tell you why. Like he knew that this was coming up, and I told him that, like, hey, I have this opportunity with James. I'm going to put together a couple things, and he was like, listen, see if you can get this out of him. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. So that day, I had a couple opportunities to talk to James, and you know what? I know that he's a fan, so he wanted to talk about it. So I think this helps hopefully get Kamen Rider in America. And I think having James Gunn's influence on something like that and Tokusatsu in general is pretty cool. And he's right. Like, the one thing is he's right. This is a great way for us to experience different forms of cinema, here in the United States. So I think it's pretty cool that he's showing some Kamen Rider love.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, jokes on everybody in the chat who thought it was all going to be about Gunn. That was a misdirect. It was brilliant. Starting with you, Zach, like, what's it like knowing that someone like him, who has a record of adapting things once maybe thought impossible to screen, liking Kamen Rider.
You know, that is such a huge shot in the arm for the trying to get Kamen Rider to a broader global audience. I mean, someone with James Gunn's clout, who has done these fantastic films. I mean, I've been a fan of his since Slither. I think his filmmaking style is amazing, and for him to say, hey, Kamen Rider and these, you know, tokusatsu shows and these kaiju films are some of the backbone of what he, you know, brings as a filmmaker. Like, that's insane to me that niche audience is getting that big, broad push, and I love it. I'm here for it. I'm excited. That video, the whole time, you couldn't see me, but I was just like this, like. So yeah, like, please, more of that. That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yo, so another thing, I just want to jump in here real quick. So I just tweeted this out on my Twitter at Joe Luminardi. Go and retweet it and share it with James Gunn, and let's get him to talk about it. I love James, and I think he's great, and I think that he helps bring eyes to a franchise like Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I think we're using hashtag Kamen Rider Squad. So
hashtag Rider Squad.
Yeah.
Hashtag Rider Squad.
Guys, if we can get Senpai to notice us, we can get him to come and do a live stream all about Kamen Rider. We're so close. We are closer than we were last year. Please, Senpai, look. I even got from P Bandai. We got an Ichigo backpack. Okay, it's super exclusive. All right, I got it for you. It's right here. If you come to the studio and film with us, it'll be filled with Kamen Rider. Just please do it.
At this point, we will kidnap a Kamen Rider and actually put them in the bag.
Look, we got people over in Japan with eyes on at least 5 different riders. We can do this.
We got guys that know some guys.
I have to share a little background story, just because this has been, one, a lot of fun to figure out how we were going to do this, and two, the hardest secret in the world to keep. And I remember when I think I called you, David. I was like, we need to talk, like, right now. Yeah. It was the shortest conversation, because as soon as I was done, David was like, I gotta go. Yeah. I have other phone calls I need to make. I have to go. and Joe, ballsy, like, but kudos.
Man.
Kudos,
if it wasn't
dude.
for
Kudos.
you, it wouldn't have happened. Thank you. I appreciate that.
This,
but honestly,
this was a year in the making, by the way. A year.
It was.
A year.
And by the way, I'm seeing some comments that saying they don't want Rider to be Americanized. We're not saying this is great because it will be turned into an American thing. We're saying this is great because now many more Americans who have never heard of Kamen Rider will probably now hear of Kamen Rider. This is a great time to expand our ranks, people. This is a good thing.
Especially someone who enjoys Suicide Squad, and then, you know, with him saying he's taking those elements from it, and like, if you've enjoyed his movies and you like those elements that he was saying, such as the silliness and over the top, but at the same time being really sincere, if you're enjoying that, that's what he's getting out of Toku. And hopefully it's like they enjoy his films and they're like, hey, Kamen Rider, this could be a really big push for someone to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, reminder, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight was amazing. So some people like that. But if anyone can be trusted to adapt something faithfully, it'll be the guy who made a talking tree and a raccoon billion-dollar stars. The man has talent. So give him a chance. But Carl, even though you're my arch enemy, I will allow you to react to this. Go for it.
Listen, James Gunn, like, I don't care who it is, honestly. Like, I'm no one. James Gunn is someone. So if he's talking about Kamen Rider, and like you're saying, spread the good word, I'm all here for it, honestly. Like, I'll get some Kool-Aid. We can go hang out with James Gunn. We can go pour it down some people's throats. That's cool with me. I'm down for that. Yeah,
awesome.
Like, it's amazing. Like, that's honestly what it is. Like, regardless of how you feel about how it should be adapted, whatever, like, people are talking about it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And it would be great if more celebrities maybe feel comfortable to come out about, you know, they love Kamen Rider, and then we can take that and go to Toei and Bandai and go, hey, great, can we have more stuff, please? Look at this.
It's a
give me more stuff
to hang out in. Welcome to the corner.
Yeah.
How are you guys? We hang out over here. It's pretty fun.
Like, this reminds me of when I was a kid, and I thought that, like, no one else liked Gundam except me. And I remember I was watching a Linkin Park music video, and they had a Sazabi in the background of, I think I forget, maybe it was at Points of Authority, one of the music videos, and there was a Sazabi there, and 12-year-old me was like, Linkin Park likes Gundam? What do I do? I don't know how to react to this. And like it made them my favorite band, like even till this day, because they like what I like. And then of course, I think it was Reanimation had like a Gundam Zaku hybrid thing on there, and I was like, oh, I love this. So I think it's cool.
Just a crazy little update here. That video already has 1,000 views on my Twitter account, so I think that maybe this will get James Gunn's attention.
So someone else remembers that video. It was Somewhere I Belong. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. So again, what's your reaction to one of the comic book movie gods liking Kamen Rider?
I'm honestly kind of like speechless. I've been having so many thoughts just because obviously like I was shocked when he tweeted last year during the first Heisei week. So to get this far is absolutely amazing. First of all, like I'm ecstatic because of that. But I think James Gunn, obviously all the MCU movies have great visual effects, but like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, especially the second one, has amazing visual effects. And that's a big part of Tokusatsu and Kamen Rider. So for somebody at that level that has that much experience with visuals like that to speak on a show that has a lot of visuals in them, I think it's a pretty cool thing because he sees the wackiness that we see of like a series that mixes gamers and doctors and fruits and nuts into a show. Like I see the wackiness in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's amazing. So like to have him get it, like there can be stuff that can be emotional and that has amazing story, but that it can be told in like this weird, wacky way. I'm overall happy with it, man. Very excited.
Yeah. And guys, don't forget, remember, we told y'all we need to be loud and obvious to get the attention of Japan. When he tweeted last time at like 2 a.m., I was getting phone calls from Japan saying, what is happening in America right now? Like, so I'm hoping that this is going to be like, hey, all those DX things that you've been asking for that we couldn't get? We found some. Look at that. Look, guys, this is a good thing to hopefully, bolster the future, of Kamen Rider in America. It can only help us. And plus, if there ever was some sort of American version, if I had to pick somebody, I would pick somebody who I know loves it and has a proven history of making things as obscure as a man saying, or a tree saying, I am Groot, entertaining. You would have never thought that was possible like 10 years ago. You'd be like, no. Guardians of the Galaxy, that's like the H team. No one knows about that, but he definitely brought it up. So I hope this will maybe bring in some new people who are curious, like what is this Kamen Rider thing that he's talking about? I think Ultraman kind of had that last year with the Marvel comic. I think that helped bring some new people in. Now it's Kamen Rider's turn. It's turn to shine. But just let's theorize for a second. If there was to ever be a Kamen Rider movie or TV show, what would you guys think? Do you think maybe a new writer adapting an existing writer, or literally taking the actors from one show and then just doing it over here in America? What are your thoughts? Start with you, Zach.
Honestly, I think it would have to be something original, something that appeals to. I don't want to say appeals to a more mainstream audience, because that sounds like Kamen Rider isn't appealing for a mainstream audience, because it absolutely is. But I feel like something original would be a better stepping stone. Like you start with something original and you say, hey, okay, you guys like this Kamen Rider we made? Well, check it out. We're gonna go ahead and take Kamen Rider, let's say Blade, because Carl is awesome. Let's say Blade.
You betrayed me.
You take the idea of the story of Blade and you take that and adapt it, and you use the same suits, and if you want to bring in Japanese actors, or you want to do American actors, however you want to do it, but that, I think, original to adaptation would probably be the smoothest transition.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Joe, what do you think?
So I think that if it were somebody like James Gunn adapting Kamen Rider, I have a feeling that just like with the Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy, he's going to take the initial concepts and make them his own. And I think that that's what he's really good at. But you made a great point. Like he was able to get the world on board with a talking tree, right? So like if anybody is going to be able to adapt these characters and make them accessible to a Western audience, even a worldly audience, it would be James Gunn. But I think the thing that would excite me the most about James Gunn directing something like Kamen Rider would be the action elements to it. And I think that he would respect the lineage, like he said in that clip. I'm sure hopefully we'll play it again. But like you said in that clip, he learned probably more from Asian cinema than he did American cinema. So I think that's that Asian action sensibility would be in a Kamen Rider film, which I think would be amazing, actually. And I think you're right. I think it would bring American audiences awareness to something how cool Kamen Rider is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's similar to like why guys, there's going to be a Gundam live action movie in a couple of years. It's just a way of bringing in a whole new group of people because they're going to see that movie, and if they're even halfway interested, they're going to go, "Let me look at more into it," and then they're going to find the whole rest of the world. So, Liz.
I think almost starting with like that Shin Kamen Rider movie that's coming out in a year or two or whatever. Like if we could get that over here to at least show, like introduce it to a bit more people, I think that would be cool. Even if it was just sub-dubbed, whatever, but like kind of made a thing. Like, hey, this is Kamen Rider. This is kind of a superhero. Right. But then us doing if it was just like a movie or whatever, like an original writer, a whole thing, it would. I think it would be awesome just because it would mean more writer. Because I'd have writer here and I'd have writer over there. And so, screw it. Everybody make a writer series. That's fine. I'll take as many of them as I can get.
Yeah. And if anything that makes it over here is a movie, guess what, guys? The toys would also be available here. So keep your eye on the prize. Eye on the prize, guys. Carl?
First off, I want to say Q Prime, #Global Satsu. I see you. I see you. I see you. Also, I see the Blade Army. But there it is. I agree with Liz. I think Shin Kamen Rider is a stepping stone and a fantastic stepping stone because Shin Godzilla is godlike, not to be mixing words and things. But something like that from an amazing director as Hideaki Anno is going to be a great piece that everyone, I think, can enjoy and get a taste of. But then if we get someone like James Gunn doing their own adaptation, or I'd prefer an original writer as well. Like, make it our own thing because we are different cultures, we value different things, they appeal to different things. Don't do a David Clark guy.
Yes, he's a genius. He's a genius.
Directed by James Gunn. But yeah, like do an original writer. Like there can never be not enough. And like I said, it's all about talking about it and spreading the good word at this point. So let's do it.
Yeah. Yum.
I think for me, I'm kind of echoing where Liz was at. Like any more Kamen Rider is good Kamen Rider for me. So like whether it's like an adaptation, kind of like Power Rangers, where they want to take suits and footage, shoot their own elsewhere, I would be down for that. If that could be a stepping stone for us to get a theatrical release that James Gunn or somebody else could possibly direct or write or whatever, I would love that. I think that would be amazing. I'm honestly on either of that side. I feel like I wouldn't want to pick if somebody was like, you have to pick an adaptation or a movie, like which one. I would hope that in a perfect world there could be both and we could have some sort of situation, because I do think that there is a benefit like anime having the ability to watch the original show on a streaming service with subs or via dub. But I also like the beauty. I grew up with Power Rangers, so I like the beauty of the adaptation, kind of creating your own stories with the stories that have already been instructed, and also just like all the suits and the possibilities that can come out of that. So I think there's potential for ideas all around for Kamen Rider, because Kamen Rider, that's the thing that they always don't, I should say they always have ideas and like different types of themes. So I think anybody that takes a crack at Kamen Rider could create something amazing.
Awesome. And Chris?
That's a loaded question, right? I mean, my big takeaway is I think back to when another tokusatsu series was adapted and brought over to the United States that is still airing today. The reason that was brought over was kind of like to make a quick buck, right? Because you're using footage and then you're just splicing in some other footage. I kind of feel like Kamen Rider, if it's gonna come like to America or what have you, or west into English-speaking countries and so forth, I kind of I want to have it honor what came before it, but at the same time, I don't necessarily want it to be a copy paste of other stuff that's already come before it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I would like to see something original that can pay homage to everything that came before it, but can tread its own new path, right? And celebrate the culture that created it without feeling like it's taking from it for whatever variety of reason that you could come up with. So my big thing is I would love to see something new, whether it be a series or, if they want to make a movie, I mean, yeah, let's, I'll look at Joe real quick and be like, hey, dude, like, you know what? Like a year ago, we were like, dude, let's get James Gunn. We just shot for the home run, right? We shot for the stars and we weren't going to let anything stop us. So, you know what? And let's do the same thing. Why not have James Gunn direct something Kamen Rider in the future? A new Kamen Rider, not something brought over from Japan, but something new for America that can be his own, that can be our own, so to speak. Again, that celebrates everything we love and pays proper homage to what came before it.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah. Like, for me, like I would want two things, right? So I'd want a Kamen Rider series, kind of like, we've been having like things like on Disney Plus or HBO Max, whatever, like a good like 13 episode type of series thing, where what I would love is just you take everybody who works on Kamen Rider right now in Japan, and then you just give them the budget and technology that you give over here in America. Like, you change nothing with it, same staff, just here's $1 billion, go, see what you can do with it, have fun. Like, I think that would be great. Because like that would just really just be like basically Kamen Rider Plus. But in terms of a movie, I think it would be cool to have an original writer. And there's like an idea that me and Steve, the guy who founded Team Kamen Rider, that we kicked around. It'd be kind of awesome that if you have like the original Kamen Rider going to other parts of the world, realizing that more than Japan probably needs a Kamen Rider, because I'm sure other horrible things are happening, and so it'd be kind of cool to maybe have him come to America and find someone to protect America, because as we saw in Gunn, we got hit with missiles. So I'm pretty sure we're not doing great in the Kamen Rider universe.
In continuity, we're kind of struggling right now.
We are canonically dead or struggling, yeah. But no, I think it could be done. Now, I wouldn't just hand it just to anybody, because there have been adaptations that we don't even talk about because of what they've done. But there are some people who I think have proven they can adapt things that people once thought were impossible. So I think, like you guys said, any Kamen Rider is good Kamen Rider. Mm-hmm. For sure. So let's see. Let's look at some of the comments real quick. Here we go. This one I do. That's you. Oh my God, these guys! But Joe, other than talking to about Kamen Rider, like what was it like talking to him? Because I've never talked to a world famous director before, and I'm a little jelly. So,
well, I think that number one, the Suicide Squad, if I may go back to that for a second, there's a lot of influences in that film for the tokusatsu community. There's kaiju, and you'll see a lot of this action and inspiration taken from the tokusatsu world. So go and check out the Suicide Squad. But other than that, James Gunn is a super cool dude. Like he's just like talking. I mean, let's be honest. Like the goal would be to get him right here on a panel with us talking about this, right? Well, I got a surprise, James. I'm just kidding. Imagine if we were... No,
I had a heart attack, Joe. You can't do that to me.
I think it would be super cool though to get him involved in doing something like this. And now the door is open. He obviously has a love for the franchise and everything that he's about, man. I really dig his cinematic style.
Yeah, for sure. And he seems really cool, by the way. He
is cool. Super cool dude, super chill dude.
Yeah, I was kind of mad. One of the women in the office, she actually got a pop figure signed by him when he was out here a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Did you tell him about Team Kamen Rider?" She's like, I didn't. I blanked. I'm like, "You met him. You had a chance." And then thankfully, Joe, you came through, and I'm like, I hope she's watching.
Pull the curtain back on that even a little bit. So I didn't know that I was going to get a second opportunity to talk to him, and I hadn't even the first time. I didn't even ask Chris what to say, and then the second time he kind of formed it out for me. And I was like, dude, I think I missed the opportunity to really convey what I was trying to ask here. But luckily, I did get
Team
a second
Kamen Rider at Bandai. You're welcome.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, "We made it! We got it in!" Yeah!
I emphasize the importance of including that in a question.
That's actually true. That was all Chris there. So he does deserve the credit for that one. But it is cool that he did answer it. I thought that was pretty cool of him.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I was glad that you asked was, do you think there's a market for Kamen Rider here in America? And to hear him say yes, I was like, great. I'm gonna cut just that part and send it to Toei and go.
Send it to the higher ups, man. They gotta know.
Look,
they gotta know.
He's famous, and he also agrees with us. Please give me more DX and more CSM.
I really appreciated that he went on to the talking points about streaming services as well. While this side handles the merch side, I get that. It's still, I thought it was really important for him to be like, hey, streaming opens up the world essentially to allow people to enjoy things from other cultures. And that was a great point that he made. And that's exactly one of the reasons why we really want to be able to watch Kamen Rider legally everywhere, anywhere. And I think that's going to hopefully be a big help and a big push for that too.
No, for sure. And by the way, guys, for the streaming side, Tokushoutsu, they are doing their best to bring it over. It is actually incredibly difficult, both work-wise and legally, to bring these things over. So they're doing the best they can, guys. Just give them a chance. Maybe come to New York Comic Con /Anime NYC. May have something there for you. Just throwing that out there. Come to the last panel during Heisei Week. We have some things to talk about. But any other thoughts about just kind of like what this could mean, like for a writer in America? Free forum, open up, everybody except for Carl, go.
I'm just going to kind of piggyback off what Chris said. I think that, James Gunn bringing up the topic of streaming as a possible avenue for getting more Rider to America, to the American audience. Like, that seems like a no-brainer. And with what Tokushoutsu is trying to do, like, hopefully this gives them that little extra push of like, hey, this famous director said you should do this. There's absolutely a market here.
Can we send that clip? Can we send that clip to Ari real quick?
Yeah,
I will text it to Shout Factory. Like, look, please, Guy next, please, or just Guy at all. Just stop again.
Drive or drive or build.
No,
either of those.
No.
Yeah.
The goal is eventually to have it all here, guys. That is the goal, is to get it all here. It is coming.
Don't say no. Just Guy more.
Right. Oh, and by the way, which yes, that's true. Which is why that's why she's on this panel. Because I appreciate that. But I also saw the comments. People were saying that they mean just America. At the end of the day, guys, other countries have their own other companies that have their own rights. And so Shout Factory can really only control what's in their range, which is America. So that is out of their control. They would, trust me, if they had a chance to make it worldwide, they would. Yeah. Believe me. No one would ever want to turn down going worldwide. So, but yeah, no, like Joe, thank you so much for that. Super, super awesome. And,
that's sweet. The video now has almost 3,000 views. So you guys are doing your job in creating the awareness about Kamen Rider. So I think that's really cool.
Everybody,
spicy meatball.
Use the comment section in that post to evangelize the masses into Kamen Rider. This is your chance. They're all going to be there. So tell them, have you ever heard of our Lord and Savior, Kamen Rider Gaim? All right, this is your chance, guys.
Pretty.
So weird.
Nietzsche did nothing wrong.
You shut your.
I hate this man. I hate this man so much. So much. Oh, nice.
Get him out of here.
Speaking of CSM, I hope to be able to get him a Typhoon, because I know his favorite rider is obviously Kamen Rider, the first one. So hopefully we can send James Gunn a CSM, and if we can get him wearing it, that'd explode. Everyone would die. So, but dude, thank you so much. That was really great. I'm gonna go see it tonight. because I'm a comic book guy. Anybody knows me knows I'm a huge comic guy. So I love seeing new comic book movies. And if he can make me love Suicide Squad, then look, I will follow him wherever he goes. So before we go, any last thoughts before we hang out?
I think you should play the video again, just in case anybody hadn't seen it. That's in the chat now.
All right, one quick second. I was afraid something would go wrong, so I took it down immediately off my screen. Let me put it back up real quick. 1 second.
Stall, Chris. Real quick, let me ask you a question, buddy.
Sir, go ahead.
So if Kamen Rider were to get adapted into an American cinematic film, who would you cast in the lead role?
You know, I that's a question I'd have to really stop and think about. But I can tell you, I would love more than anything, if it's in a cameo sense or if it is as a minor role, get Stephen Ford and Matt Mullins back. Our Dragon Knight and Wing Knight, right, from Dragon Knight. Let's get them involved somehow, just kind of like you got that other brand had some of their former actors cameo in a movie. Let's get those guys to cameo in the movie.
That would be safe. Cool. It'd be an adaptation of an adaptation. And so, I mean, you can't get mad at that. I mean, I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 people out there who are mad at that, but, you know. All right, I think I got it up. Let me let's share a screen. Let's go over here. Hope to God it works again. Let's go for 2 times, 2 perfect times. Here we go.
Now, the last question I have for you, and this is something you and I can really bond about, is that I know you're a Kamen Rider fan. I'm a huge Kamen Rider fan. We have to celebrate its 50th anniversary. 2 questions. What's your season of Kamen Rider, and would you be interested in possibly doing something to maybe get American eyes on the Kamen Rider franchise?
Well, I like the original series of the Kamen Rider is like just the greatest. And there's something about the aesthetic of all of that stuff. You know, Kamen Rider, I also love Ultraman. You know, I think that I don't, you know, I tweet about them all the time. So I like people to be able to be aware of that. But I love that aesthetic. And truthfully, that aesthetic is something that influenced me a lot. You know, I love old, I love the kaiju movies. I love old, Hong Kong action films. And so there's a lots of bits of Asian cinema that have influenced me a lot more than most American cinema. And that's in the Suicide Squad.
Right.
It's just that sense of craziness and fun, but also sincerity. Not doing it as like, hey, this is a joke on you. We're doing this as a joke. It's not that. It's sincere. And that's what the Suicide Squad is.
Team Kamen Rider at Bandai are trying to make its way to the U.S. market here. Do you think there's an audience for Kamen Rider here?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, for sure. I think that there's something innately beautiful and magical about Kamen Rider. So I think that people could definitely be into that if it was presented to them in the right way and through the right. And listen, one of the great things about streaming services today is that people are able to see TV shows and things from other cultures. Like people are able, like I had to work really hard as a young man. I had to go down and buy bootleg Hong Kong, videotapes. I did this for years and years. I had a collection of, hundreds of Hong Kong movies that were never released in the United States. And I had them on videotape, and that's where I learned how to make movies, was from those things. So being able to more easily access, movies from other cultures is a great thing for the world because it helps you understand other cultures. But it also allows you to appreciate things that just haven't grown. And one of the great things about Asian cinema in general, not just Japanese cinema or Hong Kong or South Korea, is that they embrace multiple genres at one time. Here in the United States, things get very much like, this is an action movie, or this is, a romantic comedy, or this is whatever. But those movies, they do embrace way more. And that's what's, the Suicide Squad is the descendant of those films as much as it is of my own culture.
So guys, he also wants more access. He's right there with you. He also wants to have an easier time being able to stream these things. So you're not alone. Multi-millionaire James Gunn's like, hey, can I actually watch things too? Like he also wants this. So But yeah, Joe, thank you once again. I appreciate it.
Of course.
But anybody have any last words about how they're going to go see Suicide Squad tonight to hopefully get him to talk about Kamen Rider more, please? Go for it.
It's on HBO Max.
It is on HBO Max tonight. It'll be out, I believe, at 4 o'clock Pacific, I believe. So I guess 7 o'clock on the East Coast.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, it'll be out. So go check it out. Personally, depending on what state you are and how much COVID is on the rise, Delta is on the rise in your area. If you're in a safer area, I highly recommend checking it out on a big screen. 4DX is the best experience. However, just watch it. I promise you that it will not let you down. It's one of the best DC EU movies that are out there. So it's a lot of fun. And just going in knowing it's a rated R movie. So if you have kids around, believe me, you don't want them seeing this whole movie. Absolutely not. And secondly, just go in knowing that nobody is safe. So it'll keep you on the edge of your seats. I promise you that.
Right. And guys,
and there's a giant kaiju. There's a giant kaiju in it, so go check that out.
Yeah. We should try and get him. Okay, one question for everybody in the panel real quick. If we could get him to slide a CSM, like in the background shot of one of his movies, which CSM should it be? And obviously, why is it the Sengoku driver? Starting with you, Zach, go.
I mean, listen, we don't have a CSM driver yet, so can't be that one, unfortunately. So, I mean, I guess I can accept the CSM Sengoku driver.
Yeah.
As a silver medal.
Oh, sad.
Medal.
I give you one Michi for that. One Michi. Liz?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I was thinking about the CSM.
See, that's why you're here, because you're also guy-minded. But the question was, if we could get like one CSM to James Gunn for him to like slide it into a movie somewhere, which one should it be?
I think it would be something crazy fun, like build, like with all, like you would just see all the little bottles like lined up somewhere, because they do look really cool aesthetically, like lined up. So I think if you could get like some build bottles somewhere and a driver, like I think you can fit that into a movie pretty well.
Awesome. And Carl, I have an idea of what you're going to say, but go ahead.
All I'm saying is we don't have a CSM King Rouser yet. It's a good way to premiere it. That's all I'm going to say. Full size. Give me all like 20 feet of it. Let the kaiju use it in the Suicide Squad sequel. We're good. Just have him swing a big dumb gold sword. I love it.
That's a good one. Just have him put a rabbit on a tank. Perfect.
That's a good one.
That's very James Gunn too. Like putting a rabbit on a tank is something James Gunn would totally do.
Yeah, definitely not outside that realm.
For more news and announcements, that'll be the last panel on Saturday. So make sure you come by to that. We'll be talking about what we plan to do for the rest of the year. So yeah. Jem?
Dude, I think for me, something, he likes the original Kamen Rider Ichigo. I think seeing that belt maybe modified some way, very James Gunn-esque, would be very cool. Or like something like the Deca driver that could kind of just like maybe like camouflage itself in the background one way or another. Or like the Oracle from Kuga, the Oracle. I think that would be really sick. Probably one of those. I think the simpler the Kamen Rider like design, I think the more iconic, or like the Kamen Rider fans would just like peep out and see it.
Awesome. And Chris, why do you think it's the Sengoku driver?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be fair, right? Like, if James Gunn is going to be kind enough to slip a CSM into any driver into any one of his movies that he does, I don't even care which one he does. He could pull out a DX Ghost driver, and I'd still clap and applaud and stand up and cheer. For him, I will allow. I'll put the nerd pride aside. Go ahead and put the CSM Typhoon in there. Why not? Right? That's his baby. That's his baby. Go ahead. But that doesn't mean you can only have one driver. Maybe you want two. Then you got the CSM Sengoku driver. That way you're celebrating the first and the best.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So, but guys, this is super fun. Joe, once again, thank you. You made everybody at Bandai and Toei really happy. People all excited. We're like, yo, He noticed us. Yeah, this is great.
I like
So
anything I can do with my part to help more exposure on Kamen Rider, I'm all about it. So if you guys have more questions that you want me to ask anybody else that's a fan of Kamen Rider, I'm all about it. So let's keep it going.
yeah, for real. Next time you see him, just ask him, please, will you come to Bondi in Anaheim? We have a studio. It'd be great. We'll buy him drinks. It'd be a great time. Everybody will have fun.
Pick him up with a little gift bag on the way out. Throw some stuff from the warehouse in there.
Yes, an Ichigo gift bag. Okay.
Just give him the key to the warehouse.
It's so nice looking.
Give him a key to the warehouse. Let him know that it's all paid for. Just whatever he wants. Just go ahead and take it out.
Hey, I mean, who would tell him no? All right. But anyways, guys, so that was it for the emergency panel. This was supposed to be the rest time. It was not, but this was more important. Come back tomorrow for the photo panel where we're going to look at the photo comic entries and also the best SHF photos. There's a lot of entries. A lot of you took me up on the offer of entering more than once. I have seen like 13 entries from one guy. So I salute you for getting that done. But until then, guys, we will see you later. And thanks for coming. See you later.